Hello everyone and welcome to this late night edition of Doom Eternal Ray Tracing one pot. It's late, I'm kind of tired, but let's get to it. Okay, here we go. So this is Doom Eternal running on my PC, 1080p, DLSS Balanced, and high setting, which is fine. So why am I talking about Doom Eternal again? This is like the third time. Well, it got ray tracing, and that's kind of a big deal because ray tracing is the big buzzword in the industry right now, because it's been like the holy grail of things we've been trying to achieve in real time ever since the 60s, with that very simplistic ray traced demonstration, which doesn't look like much today with what they've been able to do with ray traced images. But when you realize how long it took them to render an animation that was ray traced back in the 80s, I would say it was the 80s, 70s or 80s, it was crazy. So they came up with another way to do it with rasterized graphics. But here we are talking about Doom Eternal with RT. Now, I want to go over a couple things before I get into it. The ray tracing mode is only available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. Now, I'm not sure how it will run on AMD cards. I don't have an AMD card. I've only got my RTX 2080, and to be honest, it is very heavy on this card. Again, I don't know if that's just the way I had the settings set up. I might be able to get it better performance if I tinkered with it a bit more, but I don't really have time to do that right now. I don't think RT adds too much to Doom Eternal. However, I have, it's nice to see it get added. And DLSS support's also nice. I was hoping to see something like AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution also, which could be being used, I don't know, but not like IDtech 7 didn't have its own excellent dynamic resolution. Scaler. But let's talk the talk. So why do I think that this is a big deal? Because Doom Eternal, well, Doom in general isn't, or even ID Software games are the only ones that use IDtech engines. One of the more famous games that uses IDtech would be Dishonored, and I believe that uses IDtech 5, a modified version of IDtech 5, but that's totally available.
The Ark's headquarters is under attack.
Now, no other game besides Doom Eternal has used IDtech 7 yet. So it getting RT is a pretty big deal. Machine Games did add RT reflections to IDtech 6 in Wolfenstein Youngblood, and it was more or less fine. However, it was not as impressive as what's on display here in Doom Eternal. I know what to look for. And, you know, like the way the lighting is reflecting off the glass and it's dispersing, and there's like an oily film, and the way that like lights are reflecting off the blood, and I'm gonna spin around here and you can see this is perfectly reflected like you'd see it in real life. And like how smooth. It's astonishing to me that this runs at all anywhere near the FPS that it does. For context, the Medium, another game which has excellent RT implementation, I could barely get to run at 30 FPS with all its RT settings on. Metro Exodus, that uses only RT lights, got about 60 FPS-ish with its new update, which honestly was astonishing and great improvement. I've also played Control on this computer. I did get it to run at 60 FPS, but it required running only half the RT features. But that's honestly fine. So, I have played a few games with ray tracing. Resident Evil Village implementation was not great, as on PC anyway. The console version seemed fine, but I just don't want to deal with a controller to play a first-person game. That's all.
Attention.
Still hoping that they patch Resident Evil Village. Now, I'm sure a bunch of you are wondering, of the people that watch these videos, why does this matter? You know, like, why are you talking about Doom Eternal patch? Because I have a theory, and I don't know if we're gonna see anything about this theory anytime soon, but I have a hunch that Microsoft is gonna want to take IDtech 7 from being an internal engine, or maybe they just call it IDtech Engine 8 or whatever. It's probably gonna be 7, and they make it into a I don't want to say commercial product, because more like a professional product, something they could sell and, you know, bolster their business with. Okay, let me rephrase this. I feel like it just makes sense to me that instead of just using IDtech internally for Machine Games, Arcane, Tango Gameworks, who else uses it? I can't remember. Besides id Software, there's someone else. Probably Roadhouse, which is a bunch of ex-Raven guys. So be on the lookout for what Roadhouse is working on, because that is going to be quite interesting. Anyway, I think what's going to happen is they're going to convert IDtech 7 from a internal proprietary engine to an open and licensable engine, and build in a bunch of Azure capabilities like game streaming, probably game streaming, probably Azure services, Azure Play, Azure Anti-Cheat or whatever, cloud computing maybe, as a way to get more royalties, more in-depth things. I don't think they're going to cut it off from like other consoles. I feel like they'll be open to that, but they'll probably be like, well, if you make your game for Xbox and you use IDtech
You could use both turrets to clear a path.
will give
I
you
will mark them for you.
a cut, perhaps. Something. I could see that. It just makes sense from a business perspective. Because look at Epic. Like, everyone was all... And look at all the people who are out there talking about how good the Unreal Engine is and how everyone wants to use it. The Unreal Engine is not perfect. And I don't want to be like rude about it or say anything crazy. But the Unreal Engine has some interesting issues, I will say. And I don't like the I noticed one in Scarlet Nexus. For instance, there's this ghosting effect when you turn the camera on any character in the middle of the frame. And that is a very common graphical glitch with Unreal Engine 4 games. Maybe they fixed it in Unreal Engine 5, but Unreal Engine 4 does this. We're not going to see a shipping product for Unreal Engine 5 anytime soon. I think the first one we'll probably see is something like Fortnite. Maybe. But the engine's not even finalized yet, so... possible we see a game come out next year that's smaller in scope. But like, even Hellblade 2, which I think was going to run Unreal 5. Might not. And that's the thing. It just makes sense to me that Microsoft would want to have services built in such a way that you could make a game with their own stack. They have their own publishing house. They have their own gaming backend, cloud services, offering their own engine to publishers and developers. Just makes sense to me. Again, I could be off the mark. I could be completely wrong. I don't expect to see IDtech become a licensable engine anytime soon. But what I do expect is to see the next project that's going to be running on IDtech. Now, I don't know what engine Deathloop or Ghostwire Tokyo are run on. They could be, for all I know, IDtech 5 or IDtech 6 engine games. IDtech 6 is fine. IDtech 7 is definitely built for first-person shooters, since it has a frame cap of like 1,000 FPS. But the big takeaway from today is ray tracing performance. It's here in the IDtech 7 engine, and this can only be good for any game that comes afterwards, assuming it's some sort of Doom project or something else. But that's it for me today. I'll see you next time. Matane!